Are we live? I think we are. Well, hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here in more ways than I can possibly describe in just a sentence. In February, I went through a physical event that I didn't think I'd no longer be here. I woke up in the morning and I could not breathe. And I checked my oxygen, it was 70, and I could not recover. So 9/11 was called, of course, and boy, I'll tell you that ride to the hospital was scary because I just didn't think I'd make it to get there to get the help I needed. And by the grace of God, and I mean by the grace of God, I got the most lovely doctor and great respiratory therapist that at least got me to the point where I could breathe. And then after they did all these tests, I come to find out that it was blood clots. Now, here's where it gets really interesting because I know it's truly a miracle and I know that God was present in the process of this whole thing. So they proceed to tell me that I have these blood clots and that I was going to go to interventional radiology where they would remove them. And I can remember having a great attitude. The doctor was great. I said, just get them all. Well, when it was all said and done, he took out 20 blood clots. And when I tell that to people, they go, oh my God. And you see, I know that my angels and I know my spirit guide and I know that God was present this whole time. Now, in this course of recovery, um, and I came home and I went through a couple different things. And it came to me in my meditations that I needed to share all these wonderful things. I have three bookcases full of books that are probably no longer in print, a good portion of them: astrology, numerology, um, crystals, uh, how to heal with crystals, uh, quantum healing. So, in 45 years, I have spent a great deal of time. I spent a great deal of time studying and working in the industry. I've done expos. I've been on the radio, and it's been an absolute thrill to deal with some of the clients that I've had over the years. I've predicted 33 babies, two sets of twins, and I've met some really charming and people who were really hurting that I felt that I could help. Um, what I really want to talk about today is the game of life and how to play it. And that was how I was introduced. And I'll tell you the little story of how that all happened because I believe it's serendipity, really. It's how God works in mysterious ways. I'm sure you've heard that term over the years. Um, I belong to a group with the girls that we'd get together once a month and have coffee. It was really kind of, it would be like a therapy session, really, where we could talk about the kids and husbands and what's going on in our lives and laughing our little hearts out. Anyway, this one girl says, listen, I'm having a party and I thought you might be interested. She's a psychic. I said, well, yeah, I would, but I had to think about it because my baby was only a few months old and I really have never left her. So when I talked to her, she says, no, I'll take care of the baby. So I thought, oh, I'm out of here. I'm going. And I met this woman, and I'll tell you, she blew my doors off. She told me things that nobody could possibly have known. And she told me I was moving, which I had no intentions of moving. She described where I was going to move, what it looked like, um, and so many different things. But as I was getting up to leave, she said, "You know what? You need to learn to be positive." And I thought, "Well, heck, I'm pretty positive." I had a really tough childhood, and I survived a broken marriage, a divorce, and now I'm remarried, and I'm happy. I thought I was pretty positive. She goes, no, you really need to work on being more positive. So I said, I'll tell you what. And I had my hand on the doorknob and I said, you know what? when I turn this doorknob, I'm going to really make an effort to take in what you said. So the next morning, I'm giving the baby breakfast, and I cannot get this woman off my mind. I cannot. And so I called the my girlfriend, and I said, I never got a card or how to reach this woman, but she really interests me. I really want to learn more of what she was talking about. And she said, well, it's really funny that you called because I just hung up the phone with her and she asked for your number. See, that's how God works. That's how spirit works. That's how when the ethers and when it gets out in the ethers and that soul connection. And I think if you really kind of search your heart, you have many soul connections. Either it could be your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend, or it could be a relative where you feel that bond. Anyway, I called her, and I'll tell you, it was a wonderful experience because I studied with her for many years. She became like a friend, a sister, a surrogate mom, and a teacher. And she introduced me to the game of life and how to play it. And it was a book because they didn't have audio at the time. This is 1976, and she gave me the book and she said, if you read this book and you apply the principles, you can expect miracles. She says, but you have to apply. If you don't apply it, it's not going to work. And she emphasized that very strongly. If you don't apply it, it's not going to work. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to read it. I'll apply it. And if it works, I'll teach. And that was in 1976. But I worked with her as I studied the book. Now, here's the big thing that exercise that she gave me that I encourage everyone to really do. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. She said, you have an inside voice. We all have that. We're not aware of it. It's unconscious, but we talk to ourselves all day long. And at first I thought, well, I don't think I talk to myself, really. She says, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a little notebook. And in fact, at that time, you could go to the drugstore or whatever and buy a little, I don't know, 20-cent little notebook. She goes, I want you to write in there. I want that book to go with you everywhere for 30 days. Everywhere. Whether you're cooking, you're going potty, you're working or whatever, you take that book and record what your inside voice said. And I don't want you to analyze it. And at the end of 30 days, we're going to do it together. Okay. I thought, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. This sounds like this woman knows what she's talking about. And I said I was going to apply the knowledge. Well, at the end of 30 days, and I brought the book and I started reading the comments that were my inside voice, and I was mortified. I would never speak to another human being on this planet, whether I didn't like them or not, the way that I talked and processed and criticized myself and what was going on around me. And I encourage everybody, in fact, my life coaching clients that I have, I put them through this exercise because really, to do really a true life coaching, it's like you're peeling the onion to get to the core of what the issues are, and to make the significant changes to embellish and to really kind of grow from the inside out. That's how I basically think that happened. So I call this inside voice, and you can give it a name too. It could be the warden. That's what I would call it because it really kind of circumvents you a lot of times when you're going through a tough time, and it just kind of is the other kick, of who do you think you are, or you don't deserve that, or whatever. You're not even aware of that consciously till you really turn that switch. That's what I tell my clients. Pretend there's a light switch on your temple, and let's turn that switch on so that you can monitor that inside voice, because it's not a cheerleader. It's not your friend. It will never be your friend until you arrest it. So I said to Connie, my teacher, I said, well, how do I arrest this critic? Which first of all, she says, you don't love yourself. I said, well, I think I do. She goes, no, no, you don't. And until you arrest the critic, will you find true love of yourself and accept yourself? Oh, okay. So you call let's say, oh, geez, Joanne, that was really, you're really stupid. You have to stop and say, no, no, it's not the truth. That's not true. But the next time, I'm going to do it a different way. In other words, you haven't barbecued yourself, so to speak, or you haven't taken yourself to task. But it's really good because you catch yourself of how you actually are judging yourself or judging others or your circumstances or whatever. Um, but it's really, really, really important. Now, let me tell you about this game of life and how to play it, Florence Scovel Shinn. This woman was a pioneer. She wrote The Game of Life in 1926. And it's profound. And my clients have got to work with The Game of Life and how to play because I know it works. And when the law of attraction and The Secret came out, I was so disappointed. First of all, right in Florence's uh, index of her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, there's a chapter called Law of Attraction. And The Secret was, to me, no big deal because Florence Scovel Shinn laid that out beautifully. And she wrote 4 books that I highly recommend: The Game of Life and How to Play It, The Secret Door to Success, The Word is Your Wand, and The Power of the Spoken Word. If all the books that I have in 3 bookcases, those 4 would go with me. But here's the coup de grace. I'm going to show you the coup de grace. Louise Hay studied Florence Scovel Shinn and really kind of brought it up to speed in the 80s and 90s because Florence, like I said, wrote the book in 1926. A manuscript was found in an attic, and Louise Hay, they contacted Louise Hay and said, I think you'd be interested in this because Louise Hay was a student of Shinn like I was around the same time. And this is called The Magic Path of Intuition. Phenomenal. It's the great book. But I would encourage everyone to really look into Florence Scovel Shinn. Now, I've had my one client that I'm working with now, because I did his chart. I said, you cannot read a book because it's not going to help you because your critic is going to kill you at chapter 2, and the book is going to go on the bookshelf. So he did audio. And it worked out beautifully because you got the rewind button. It's so whatever particularly works, but it helps to have your chart too to see what areas we're really going to focus in on. Now, let's talk about numerology because that came after I was studying Florence, which I still use Florence in all my work. Is our soul never dies. And we go from lifetime to lifetime. But here's the thing, we have a soul contract. So we choose our mother, our father, our siblings, our friends, our schools, our work, uh, different, the good, the bad, and the ugly occasions or events that happen in our life. And I can remember studying with my teacher, my numerology teacher, who was brilliant, but she was a tough cookie. And she said, I'm not going to have you in my class if you're not going to be serious because this is a big responsibility. You're dealing with people's souls, and this is serious. This is not a lark. This is not something to take lightly because you're holding a soul in your hand with your pen. And and it's how you communicate to that soul. And we're here to help. And she was phenomenal. She really was. But she was strict, very strict. Because it's not like the work that I do, like you can go on the computer and look up numerology. This is very different. This is very complex. There's so many pieces to a true chart, number one. And I was telling my producer, Tiffany, that I had gone to Sedona, I believe it was 2007. And I, I'm very funny about who reads me. And so I walked into the store and I said, well, I think I'd like to get a reading. And she said, oh, the woman will be right back. She went down the road to the bank, but there's construction, so she might be a little delayed. And I knew there was construction. I knew that was the truth. I said, that's okay. And because of my spirituality course of listening to Shin, oh, that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. I turn around to walk to the door, and the woman slaps the phone in my ear, and it's the woman. And she said, well, I think you should wait because I need to talk to you about your work. Now, being the smarty pants that I can be, um, I thought to myself, well, what does she want to talk about? My corporate work? Or does she want to talk about my spiritual work? So she got my interest. So I said, okay, I'll come back. And anyway, when I came back, she said she was a channeler. I never saw a person that did channeling work. And she said, I see you. She said, you're writing and you're here to repair souls. You're here to help souls. She had no idea what I did with the numerology. And when I came home, I no longer did formal like that I was taught. It was like a download from heaven. So yes, I use a combination of both, but I've had many psychics when I've done expos said I've never seen anything like it. And it's true, I can't teach it because I can't give you my spirit guide, but I can teach you the formal way that I was taught. So uh, I think the greatest thing that I can say to you today, and over the several weeks, I'm going to pull out different things that we can talk about or look at from the three bookcases. Because when I went through this thing in February, I just, it just came to me as I was healing that what good is all this going to be on a bookshelf if I can't share it? If somebody can't ask me um, more information, or if I can't share the information, then it's lost. So it's just going to wind up in a resale shop somewhere. And I really feel like it needs a little shine on it. So there's a couple different things that we're going to talk about. But also too, another book that I want you guys to think about getting that I ran across when I was looking for my Game of Life cards. Um, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do by Robert Schuller. And this helped me as well too, getting through the boo-boos. Because really the best person to help yourself is having um, a well, I call myself really basically I'm a straight shooter reader and I'm a straight shooter life coach. And that's what you want. You want somebody that tells you the truth, but also knows that they care about you and that they love the person who you want to become and who you are right now to help you get to where you want to be. So this is a great book. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Great information. Um, and it's got some great wisdom. So I'll be sharing a few pages on each session we do. Now, this is the game of life and how to play cards. Um, I was talking to Tiffany, my producer, and said we can't find them. Well, you couldn't find them for years. I know that, but I think somebody has reproduced them, and you might want to try to go on eBay. But these are the original. And I got these back, I want to say, probably of the late 70s. And it's really great. And let's see, let's just see what we can find here. I'm always under direct inspirations. I make right decisions quickly. I love these kind of inspiration cards. It's almost like it goes hand in hand with meditation, um, and when you're making positive statements, manifesting, because we're going through a lot of changes in our world, but you got to look for the good. You can't look for the negative. If we just dwell on the negative, we're never going to get anywhere. We're just going to wind up being kicking the can or moaning and groaning. That's what good is that? Let's look for the positive. There's got to be something right in everything that we're looking at. What's the benefit? I call in the law of forgiveness to neutralize a situation. Boy, I've used this one a bunch of times, and calling on that higher power. That's what's really, really important. Let's see. I just love these. These are great. I cannot lose anything that belongs to me by divine right. I am under grace and not under law. I cannot lose anything that belongs to me by divine right. I am under grace and not under law. Now, that doesn't mean to break the law, but what does the law say? But it's so that I can be the best I can be and stay within the parameters. Okay. But there's also the law of spirit. You know, you can take the Ten Commandments, and I had a friend that told me that her dad told her, take the Ten Commandments, whatever religion you may practice. Does it? You don't have to really be any kind of religion to know the Ten Commandments, and add the word respect to each one of those. Wow, it just adds a whole different spin to it when you add the word respect. Try it. It's amazing. Let's see what else here. I love this one. This is one of my favorites that I would pick when I was working. Infinite Spirit, don't let me miss a trick. Don't let me miss a trick. In other words, let me see, let me learn, let me be. Um, let's gonna Tiffany's gonna help me here, um, because I said I would do a little bit of uh, numerology. I would recommend people to take notes because you're going to ask me to repeat something that's not going to happen, um, because it's a download, like I said. But this is the new year, and I'm really excited because we're in a global, really a 10, which is in numerology, 10 is power. I mean, it is the best that you can be. And I look forward, people can moan and groan and be critical, but I'm telling you that we're going to go through some pretty significant, powerful, great things coming up in the world if we're under a 10 influence in this new 9-year cycle that we're going to go through. It's going to be phenomenal. And the people that are gloom and doom are the ones that are going to get left out because you got to look for the good in everything. We cannot just be critics and just pick things apart because what is that do for your soul? Not good. It is certainly not good. So, what I'm going to do, and I don't know what timing we have here, but I'd like to have your first name and your month and your day, and then I'll give you a short little message uh, for the new year. And each week I will do that as we're learning something in a chapter or notes that I will make from one of the treasures, and I'll pull out some of my treasures. I have some really cool things. So if I'm going to try to read this here. I didn't bring my reading glasses. Okay, let's see here. Um, And let me get my paper and a pen. And I think we have Richard, September 11th. Richard. So hold on a second while I compute. Well, Richard, what I see, this is a year to really get happy because this is like things are going to get much better for you this year. I definitely tell people, buy your lottery tickets when you're in a three, but it's also a very good year for your socializing, communication, breaking out of the norm. And I would certainly recommend that highly. Um, no gloom and doom. I want you to really start working, Richard, on no negative talk, no negative thinking. Catch yourself, and in the weeks to come or whatever, we'll see how we can work on. I'm gonna maybe pick apart the chapters, and maybe I could do some of that. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. Of how we're going to um, get through each and every chapter. Okay, so now I see Ruth April 4th. Is that right? Yes. So this is really great because this is like with this 1 year that we're in, or 10, really, basically. And whatever you plan on working on or what you're working on, it's like it all comes together. It's like boom, ba boom, whatever. I feel like you have more than one or two things, maybe three uh, projects that you're working on, and it's time to tie the bow on it. It's no procrastination. Let's get it done. Um, there also may be some things that you're doing. I don't know if it's got to do with the home. I don't know if you're redecorating, redoing, or restructuring within the home, but that's this year. Okay, that's Ruth. Okay, let's see what I can see here. Um, Patty. Let's see, Patty. Um, January 7th. This is a time for you to kind of really set some boundaries for yourself, Patty, because I know that you don't like drama, okay? And you kind of keep things to yourself. Well, that's something I want you to work on this year of learning to speak with I, okay? And I want to explain what I does. There's no fight with I. So it's like when that was said, I was disappointed. When that happened, I was embarrassed. You see, you have to learn to stand strong in your shoes, and that's what I teach with my soul coaching. Is that to thy own self be true, and to learn to stand strong in your own shoes. And it's not with a negative attitude or a cocky attitude. It's it's standing strong and being comfortable with who you are, without a facade, um, without you being judgmental to yourself, which that inside voice is not your friend, remember, and it's not a cheerleader. So I would get some new ways of not putting the lid on your emotions so much, Patty, this year. And I want you to learn to use the I statements. And I'm sure I'll get different messages at a different time as well. Okay, let's see. Um, is that Samir? Yes. Samir, let's see, Samir, 1127. Well, Samir, I hope you always follow your intuition, honey, because you got it. Uh, don't question it. I think that that's the one thing is I know you're sensitive, but I also know that you were given this gift. It's in your charts. Now, I hope you listen to it. I know that you're pretty independent in your thinking, but you're also very sensitive as well. Um, I don't know if you have been into any kind of healing or any kind of um, how do I want to say this? Like quantum touch or uh, tapping, um, any kind of health work. That would be in a spiritual way. But anyway, you're in a 3 year this year, which is have fun, lighten up. Um, if there's something that you want to do or you want to travel or you've been holding yourself back, this is a year for you to break out. Break out. Okay, Maria. Okay, let's see, Maria. My Italian's coming out. Where I lost it. Where oh there you are. October 24th. Oh, this is rock and roll this year. This is a power year for you. Okay. Whether it comes to investments, selling, or anything that you're doing with finances or with your job, if you're looking to, if you have a business, you're looking to maximize it and grow it this year, or if you work somewhere, getting a bonus or a raise. You're very smart. You don't like surprises, but you're sensitive. But you're really a strong gal, and a lot of people misjudge your kindness, that how strong you really truly are. So God bless you. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see. Is that Heidi? Help me out here, folks. Tiff, is that Heidi? I can't read it. Let's see. Oh, so Heidi's a twin to Samir. Um, I can't remember. I can't go back with Samir's birthday. Can I have that, please? Is there anybody else? Okay, 1127. Okay. So let's see, Heidi. I want to look at your name because the name on your birth certificate and your birth date is how you're registered in heaven. So yes, even with twins, um, you, your names are different. So that brings a whole different element into it as well too. And I'm just doing a real short little snippet. But when I do the whole chart with the full name, that's how that it's on your birth certificate. That's how I do a full chart. So Heidi, very sensitive, um, but yet you're grounded and thank God with that little D in there. But you're also very there's nothing shy about you when it comes to that you need to get things done or that you need to set a goal. You got the chutzpah to do it. So I think that's great. This year, again, just like Samir, this is a time for you to either do something that's fun or goals that you've been putting on the back burner, excuse me, and go for it. Go for it. I think you really need to do that. Okie dokie. Have I got? Let's see. Who have I got here? Laura. Laura. She's got the same birthday as my husband. And now, what's really great is that she's got a double 10. So you want to talk about this is a time for you to this year to really put the pedal to the metal. Okay, really go forward and do whatever the heck you full speed ahead. That's what I have to say. Full speed ahead. Um, you're very strong, and you come up with some really good things. It's time to you create whatever you're doing creativity wise. I really think that you really need to put the pedal to the metal because you've got a lot of powerful. You got a double 10 now. You got a 10-year global year, and you've got a 10 birthday, and you got the 5 that makes creativity go just sparkle. So I say go for it. All right, Maureen. Um, see where I lost you, Maureen. Oh, there you are, August 19th. Well, this is really great, Maureen, because you got the sizzle as well too, but you hold yourself back uh, because you want everything perfect or in order. You don't like surprises. But this is a good year for you to make some significant changes. This would be a real good year for you to do some inner work as well. But you're very savvy as far as uh, doing anything creative financially this year. I think that there's going to be a lot of changes. So I think you need to start digging and seeing where you can financially benefit yourself. Okay. Now we got Sarah. Sarah. All right. Decisions. New decisions to be made. Is I don't know if you're going to move or if you're doing something within your house, your family, or whatever, but there's definitely some changes or restructuring going on here. Um, and be prepared to make the changes, but look at it as a great thing. Look at it as, oh, this is something that's really going to be good. No gloom and doom. I think you're very, don't question yourself, as I guess, because you're smart and you're very strong. You're a survivor. Um, so I say, look at good for me, not good for me, healthy for me, not healthy for me when you're making these decisions. It's like a big scale. Good for me, not good for me. Healthy for me, not healthy for me. To thy own self be true. That's I want to tell that for everybody that's on the channel today because God is great and he doesn't make junk. We are the most beautiful entities in this planet and we're here to make a difference. Okay, let's see. Super space. Oh, that's good. Zero. I got zero. Okay. Julia. Julia. 916. Well, this is a time for, I don't know if you're going through making some changes, but there's also legal papers or something to do with weighing things out. And again, let's get to the part where you got to center yourself. Good for me, not good for me. Healthy for me, not healthy for me. Um, and I really feel like you've got this is a good year to make any kind of moves that you're going to make as far and that would go for any category, whether it be for your uh, where you live or work or health or making plans or whatever. This is a time for you to really put the pedal to the metal because you got it. Oh, that's good to know. All right, I think that was Heidi, right? Super space cookie. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Oh, Thank you, Laura. That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. All right. Is there anybody else? Am I missing anybody? Tiffany, did I get everybody? Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Marsha. Did I get Mar- no, I didn't get Marsha before. Marsha. 12, 29. So that's 1, 3, 2. Well, this has to do with making choices, and it's kind of like good choices. I think it's time for you to kind of to thy own self be true kind of thing, um, and weighing things out. You might have gone through some emotional weighing in the last couple of years or whatever, but I really feel like this is a time for you to thy own self be true. But I do feel that you'll be called on to do some definitely responsible, the responsibility areas. Just make the choice. Is this something I really want to do, or do I have to do? There's no have to. There's only choices. Okay. So I would weigh that out, Marsha, because you're sensitive, but yet by the same token, too, you're strong, but don't let people manipulate you. I think that that's a key thing here. Okay, let's see. What else have we got here? Did we get everybody? All right. We'll do some more game of life cards here. See what comes up to anybody else that needs something. I just need your month and your day because we're in a universal year. And remember, your full chart that I do, you can make your own appointment. I work by appointments only, uh, where I do your whole birth chart. And that's loaded with what your karma is, what your strengths are. It deals with your soul mission, your personality, how you express yourself, what your destiny is. And it gets into all those good things. And also families. It's really interesting when I do families. It it's incredible on how it's all synced. When I did my own personal family, I was wowed of how it was all in sync. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you, Marsha, on that. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see what we can do here with the game of life and how to play it. Let's see here. I like this here when you deal with, and I want to talk about the critic here, and you can find your own name for it. But I really wish that everyone um, in the next couple of weeks would be able to share with me on the inside voice. Just don't think about it. Just jot it down. Don't read it. Don't analyze it until we get to the next show. Just jot it down this week, and we'll go. You can go through it. You'll be amazed at how you talk to yourself. We're so very difficultly hard on ourselves. So this says, Infinite Spirit, reveal to me the way. Let me know if there's anything for me to do. I demand a definite lead. I'll give you an example. I have trouble with this computer that I have. It's old, and I couldn't quite navigate it because I hadn't touched it in a long time. And I was frustrated. And it was, this button comes on and says, your cooling fan is failing. And I'm like, oh, my cooling fan is failing. Wow, that's really something. Well, little did I know when I touched it, I was like, oh, that's Hotsy Totsy. So I was doing my meditation and my gratitude prayers in the morning. And I said, I need a computer. I can't believe I need a computer. And I go, Where am I going to get the? Well, I'm not going to worry about the money. I don't have the money, but I know that I'm going to get a computer. 12 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I get a phone call from one of my clients, and they sent me money for a computer. So I ordered my computer yesterday. That's how God works, putting it out in the ether, manifesting. But that's my game of life. That I wasn't always like that. I was I could be the best critic you ever saw in shoe leather and look for the problem is we look for what's wrong instead of what's right first. And that's so important. Start looking for what's right before you can get into what's wrong. I don't care what it is. It could be the smallest thing. It could be your friend. It could be work. It could be you're making a recipe or whatever. Look for what's right about it first before you get into what's wrong. I think that's why we have a lot of these problems in schools and work or whatever. People are too busy being the critic. Let's see what this says here. This is a good one. One must never hold the vision of their journey's end and demand the manifestation of that which they have already received. It may be their perfect health, love, supply, self expression, home, or friends. And that's the truth. What do you visualize? Are you visualizing gloom and doom, or are you visualizing what else is possible? I love to ask myself, especially even when I went through this event, what else is possible? Because when I tell my friends they removed 20 clots, they go, I never heard of such a thing. And I go, well, God did because he helped me. Spirit helped me. I mean, I consider that a miracle, and I thank God every single day. What do you expect? Do you expect good things, or do you expect that what's coming around the corner isn't good? You have to be able to be discerning. And I like using the philosophy good for me, not good for me. Healthy for me, not healthy for me. When you start doing that daily to thy own self be true, will you make some significant changes? Listen, they don't teach any of this in school, okay? I would love for them to teach little kids to love themselves right from the get go in kindergarten. You know, you tell little Johnny, well, oh, that's not good. Well, that kid could have been a great artist, but, so and so told him I'm not good, so he buys it. His whole life, he's not good. You see, it's all programming until you decide that you're worth it and that you're the best and you deserve the highest, the finest, and the best. It's all expectations and that kind of thing. And so it's like when you peel the onion and you've gone through so many years of your life with the critic in charge, and you don't even know what the critic has done to you until you start monitoring how that voice is. And I can't tell you any other way to do it other than the notebook because it's right in your face. I mean, the names I called myself or how I judge myself. Oh my goodness gracious. It's just incredible. Oh, thank you, Miss 22. So life is they used to say that life is what you make it. Well, a lot of people, as we've gone from the 80s, 90s onward here, we've lost a lot of that connectiveness. I love saying to people, what do you think about that? How do you feel about that? I'm a straight shooter. A lot of people can't, uh, they go, wow, I've been to other readers. I've never had one that's a straight shooter. I like you. Well, good, thank you. Because I can't be any other way than be sincere and be a straight shooter. Do I want the best for everybody? You bet your bippy I do. Absolutely. But a lot of times when I'm doing a reading, I'm dealing with the stuff that's not good, and helping them understand how it's circumventing their good, or circumventing their progress. The In order to have love, and I mean a good relationship, a healthy relationship, it's got to have three things. The first thing is trust. The second thing is respect. Now, respect is a two-way street. You got to respect yourself and respect the other person. And the third thing is communication. Now, trust can be broken, and I've seen in a few situations where they have worked really hard to rebuild trust. Okay? Respect, once you lose respect for somebody in a relationship, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's over. There's just no way to gain it back. And I mean respect. I mean, yeah, you can have arguments, you can have difference of opinion, you can have a fight. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about respecting the person. And the third thing that is the killer is being in a relationship with horrible communication, either lack of or not healthy communication. I had one girl, she was dating, and I said, you cannot go to meet somebody and sit there and have this dialogue going in between your ears, and they're sitting there thinking, well, what is she like? What's up? What's down? What's in? What's out? Well, I mean, you have to be able to communicate. You can't, you can't be in a relationship where you're sitting there and they're going to use radar to think about what you're thinking. It doesn't work. Well, thank you, Marcia. I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Uh, because my heart's in it. You see, it's always been in it. I've been doing it 45 years. I have worked many, many expos. I never criticized or judged others, but they'll say to me, well, I've never seen anybody do the kind of work that you do. I read Schuster cards, and that's a lost ability. It's read astrologically and psychically. Um, I read spirit animal cards, and I do the charts. So, but everything I've done, I put my all and everything into it. But when it comes to somebody, and it's really funny. I was just telling this to one of my clients the other day. Back in the 70s and 80s, maybe the 90s even, I'm not sure. I think some of you might recognize this, okay? There was a columnist, her name was Dear Abby. And what's really amazing, Dear Abby, they would write to Dear Abby about their particular problem, whether it's within the family or a relationship, uh, I mean, all kinds of things. Sometimes I really feel like it would be, maybe I should do a Dear Joanne. But anyway, you know, the sincerity, because Dear Abby was pretty direct. It's like, I mean, she didn't really have a tolerance for uh, people not getting to really make a decision. You can't keep dancing around the park and not make a decision. Does that make sense? So, is there anybody else before we kind of do a wrap here? And next week, I'm going to try to bring you something else out of my treasures, and we'll do some readings. And I really want to go over some of the principles of law of attraction, and and some of the Shin principles for sure. And we'll go through that. And I'd love to have you all kind of interact with me of a problem or whatever. Oh, I should do it, dear Joanne. You know what? We should do that at one of my sessions, dear Joanne, and then write your thing, and I'll give you my straight shooter. I don't think that would be really interesting. Maybe we'll do that one whole session. It'll be dear Joanne. That's hilarious, Marcia. It's a great idea. I feel like I've done that really be honest with you, when I do some of my readings. But I had a blast today. I hope you did. Um, um, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And I look forward to next week. And I love Tiffany, who has been my cheerleader this week and supporting me. That I got this wild idea that I've got to share after my little situation. So I love you all. I wish you the best. Um, until next week. Mwah!
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show.